I've never been a naturally good bench presser. In fact, compared to my squat and my deadlift, some people might even say I had a poverty bench. However, in just over the last year, I've been able to add 20 kilos to my bench press, going from 160 kilos to 180 kilos. And with me already being a fairly advanced lifter, that begs the question of how? So in today's video, I'm going to explain to you guys how to blow up your bench press and give you all the tips that I use to break through my plateau and start hitting new PRs. But first of all, I've just got to let you know that MyProtein is currently having a huge sale with up to 80% off. So make sure that you guys go and grab something, and you can use code NATE35 for even more discounts. It's the first link in the description. Make sure you grab something before it's too late. So let's go through my bench press history. At 16, I had a bench press PR of 130 kilos. And then at 17, the biggest bench press that I hit was 140 kilos, but I reckon at my max, I could have done a bit more, let's say 145 kilos. Then at 18, again, I didn't go for a 1 rep max, but I'd estimate my 1 rep max to be around 150 kilos. Then at 19, I hit 160 kilos, and this is when I started competing, and in competition, I managed to get 155 kilos. And then we jumped to 20 years old, where I'm at now, and I've hit a bench press PR of 180 kilos. So you can see in the last year, I've made so much more progress than you typically would as an advanced lifter, because your progress typically slows down. So how was I able to do this? There's 4 main tips that I use to blow up my bench press, and I feel like if you guys use them as well, they can really help you to start making some sick gains. Number 1 is that I widen my grip width. On a typical power bar, there's a ring on either side, and I used to bench with my pinky finger maybe a few inches away from the ring. And recently, within the last couple of months, I've been experimenting with widening out my grip, and now I'm where my index finger is on the rings, and I feel like this made a huge difference for me. Now, widening your grip width won't necessarily increase your bench press, but for someone like me, I've got really long arms. So even when I have a wide grip bench, there's still a decent range of motion, and as long as I keep my elbow tucked, I'm not at so much of a risk of injuring my shoulder, because in theory, the shorter the range of motion, the easier the lift will be. So the first thing I want to tell you guys to do is experiment with your grip width. Now, this will also depend on what muscle groups are dominant. If you have really dominant triceps, you may benefit slightly more from a closer grip, but still experiment and see if you can get wider, because the only limitations of a wider grip bench press is that because you have slightly more internal rotation, you're putting more pressure on your shoulders, and it also decreases the range of motion. So if your goal is max chest growth, then I would go for a slightly closer grip. If your goal is to lift as much weight as possible, then I would go pretty much as wide as you can go with it still feeling good and your elbows still being able to be tucked. Okay, the next thing I did is I increased my frequency. Frequency is the amount of times that you train something per week. And I used to train bench press 2 times per week. Not even always 2 times per week. Sometimes I would train it once per week and I would do incline bench instead or whatnot. Recently, I increased this to 3 times per week. And the reason for this is, with every lift, there's the strength side of the lift and then there's the technical side of the lift. Realistically speaking, have my chest and triceps gotten so much stronger within the last few months? Probably not. They've probably gotten a bit stronger, but the main thing is that my technique has gotten so much better. And technique comes down to practice. You need to be practicing the bench press more times per week if you want to get your technique better. So 2 times per week, which is what a lot of people would do if you did upper body, lower body split or a leg push pull split, realistically isn't going to cut it if you want your bench press to be as good as it can. So I would recommend increasing it to either 3 times per week or 4 times per week. I personally started bench pressing 3 times per week, and this really made a huge difference to my bench press. Another reason for this is that the bench press isn't a huge lift if you compare it to the deadlift or the squat. It's not as taxing on your body, so you can do it more times per week without fatiguing your central nervous system. So throughout this period when I was increasing my bench press, I would bench press Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday. And now, just because you're bench pressing multiple times a week, this doesn't mean that you have to be training extremely hard all of those days. My Monday session would be a much lighter session. I would do close grip bench on Monday, and then Tuesday I would do the standard bench press, and Thursday I would do the standard bench press. And this meant that when I would get under the bar, I just felt so much more comfortable because I was doing it more times throughout the week, and this made a huge difference. The next tip I'll give you guys is to increase your volume. Now, in order to get stronger, there's no way around getting that you have to progressively overload. And there's 3 main ways to progressively overload. You can either increase the weight, you can increase the number of repetitions, or you can increase the number of sets. Now, as an advanced lifter, I'm not just going to be able to keep adding more reps per week. My progress has slowed down. I'm also not just going to be able to add on weight indefinitely. But the one thing I can do is do more sets per week. And this is a viable way of progressively overloading. So I went from doing between 7 to 9 bench press sets per week up to now where I do 14 bench press sets per week. And that in itself has made a huge difference and has allowed me to progressively overload as an already advanced lifter by increasing the total amount of volume that I do throughout the week. Now, with volume, you also want to make sure that you're able to recover from this. So ideally, you don't want to add 6 more sets per week, but you want to maybe add a couple of sets, see how that feels, add a few more sets per week, until you get up to the point where you're struggling to recover from it, then pull back a bit, and then that'll be a good place for you to sit at and do that amount of sets per week. So I'd recommend anywhere between 10 to 15 sets per week of bench press. And then with this, I would also recommend varying your rep ranges. Don't only stick to sets of 5s or sets of 8s, 3 sets. You want to make sure that you're hitting all the rep ranges. So you want to be doing singles, doubles, triples, and then also doing your sets of 6, your sets of 8, your sets of 10. You want to disperse those through the week so you're ticking all those boxes. And then my last tip is that I gain weight. For me, the two lifts that have always been most closely correlated to how much I weigh is my squat and my bench press. Deadlifts, because they're very leverage based, don't seem to fall off as much if you're a lighter lifter, but the squat and the bench press definitely makes a huge difference in terms of how much you weigh. Anytime I go on a cut, my bench press either goes down or I struggle to make any progress. And going from sitting at around 90 kilos to sitting at around 94 kilos has also made a big difference for me. Not only does mass move mass, but you also feel like you have more cushion around your joints and you just feel a bit more supported when you're a bit heavier. So I'm not telling you guys to go out there and gain 10, 15 kilos, but as you gain weight and you're doing all the things that I previously talked about, your bench press should go up. And the last thing, guys, I would just say to believe in yourself. Just because you may not have the best genetics to have a sick bench. Like myself, I've got really long arms, right? In theory, I shouldn't be a great bench presser, but in the last few months, I've realized that with hard work, I can bridge that gap. Going from when I competed at British University Championships last year, I had, I think, the 3rd lowest bench press in my flight, to competing at British Junior Nationals, where I had the 3rd highest bench in my flight. So yeah, guys, that just about wraps it up. I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure you drop a like if you did. Also, make sure you guys cop some Gymshark. Use code NATE. That gets you 10% off. That really helps to support me. I don't currently offer any coaching myself, but I do have training plans which are in my bio, and they're also 50% off. So make sure you go and grab one. Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys in the next one.